Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Lindsey. Welcome to my Georgia home. I can't wait to show you around.
A big thank you to Weezie for sponsoring today's episode. Be sure to use the code in the description below for a special discount for our viewers. You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Like and subscribe for more.
Hi, I'm Lindsey Johnson, and we're in my home in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Weezie, and Weezie is a luxury bath brand founded just under 5 years ago by myself and one of my closest friends. Liz Eichelt's our creative director, and my background was actually in finance before starting Weezie. So I worked in finance in New York for a number of years before pivoting into the design world and co-founding Weezie. At the time when we founded the business, there was so many different brands and options on the market for luxury towels, but we felt that there was no brand that was offering a luxury product at a more approachable price point and through a brand that we could really relate to and get excited about. And we felt the purchase experience really fell flat. So oftentimes, if you wanted to get something embroidered or customized, you're having to drive it somewhere in person and wait 6 weeks to pick it up. And we really wanted to make that customer experience more seamless and put the design options and design power into consumers' hands, all via a website online. I think pivoting from finance and working for someone else into owning a business has been so fulfilling because you really are in control of your own destiny, so to speak, and you get to handpick the people that you work with and the opportunities you pursue, and that's been probably the most fulfilling part of having Weezie. So this is the foyer and the entry of the home. And actually when we bought the home, there wasn't really a formal foyer because this was glass French doors peeking into what is now my husband's office. And I really wanted that moment when you walked into the house. And so we built this wall. One of my very best friends from college actually hand painted this wall. It's Catherine Owen design. She worked for Katie Ritter for a number of years in New York. On many of her patterns. And so we used some of those as a starting point. And I knew I wanted something floral, but I wanted it to feel a little bit different and fresh. So we started with the color scheme, which really plays off the living room, which we'll get to in a second, and then handpicked all the different florals. And one of my favorite things on here is these, I think these pomegranates are so fun. I think there's just so much going on and I never get tired of looking at it. The house was very open when we bought it, which I think is great for our phase of life, but probably not what I would want every day. So we created little moments where we created this archway in here to really make this feel like its own space. And this is one of my favorite spaces in the house just because it is so unique as it's hand painted. I love the light that we included in here. This is from Urban Electric, a beautiful mustard floral light. And then we painted the ceiling and the door and the trim all to sort of match this beautiful scene that she's created. And then because this wall is so busy and the space is so decorated, we really wanted something simple here. So this was just an antique find because we didn't want to clutter the space with too much furniture, but created this nice homey feel with the rug, small bench, and just really wanted to keep it simple. So we'll do a quick pit stop in the powder room, which is right here, and then we'll move on to the living room. So this is our powder room, which I had so much fun designing, obviously with Weezie in mind. The wallpaper is this really beautiful texture. A lot of the paper that we picked was textured. The vanity was actually already here, so we just had to do countertops and picked out some Weezie powder towels to coordinate. This is our new partnership with Lily Wallace, who's one of my favorite textile designers. And of course, I keep all of these different powder room options stocked in here. So we have, different towels for every season from Weezie, which is always fun to make the room feel different as the seasons change. Another one of my favorite touches in the powder room is this art by one of my favorite artists, Kit Porter, who I actually have multiple pieces of hers throughout the home. I think it's just important to make sure that even the bathroom gets some love, and so sprucing up a small space with art is always fun. So Weezie is not even 5 years old yet, which is hard to believe. And in the past 5 years, it's grown tremendously. So it went from being myself and my co-founder and one embroiderer to now a team of almost 50 people located here in Atlanta, Georgia. And that growth has been phenomenal and so exciting and challenging at times, of course, but we've been able to create a real community around our brand and kind of really make Atlanta home after having relocated the business here. So we've since opened up a brick and mortar store here in Atlanta, Georgia, located in Buckhead, where you can, look and feel and touch the product and, not only pick out towels, but also we have all of our other products there, which are robes and beach towels and kids products. And so it's been really fun to sort of see the brand evolve over the past 5 years, when it was just an idea to now this, huge team of people and community of customers, and see the brand really come to life over time. Moose, my dog, is gonna follow us everywhere, I'm sure. He's my shadow around the house. So now we're in the living room, which is arguably our most formal space in the house. This is one of my favorite pieces. It's actually a hand-me-down from my family, which is an antique game table that was in the home that I grew up in. So we use this often for game nights. I'm really into mahjong these days. And then the rest of the space really is anchored by the artwork and the color of the room. So one of my favorite pieces in the room is this large Kit Porter piece right here. That was one of the first things we picked out. And the wall color, this room actually started as the dining room in the previous home. And just the way that we live our life, we realized we would rather like a cocktail game gathering space over a formal dining room. But it was already wallpapered in this grass cloth and had this nice paneling here. So we just painted over it. And then once we had this color set and I saw this piece of art, I thought it would be really fun to design the room around it. So we have some pillows here. This is one of a designer, Molly Marn, that does this fabric. It's actually a designer that we're partnering with at Weezie coming up soon, which has been fun to work with her, and love having one of her pieces in the home. My mother-in-law gifted me this beautiful antique mahjong set, which I love, and also my 2- and 3-year-old love too, because I went to use it the other day and I opened it up and it was totally empty and I couldn't figure out where any of the pieces were. And then, my daughter told me that she actually has been storing them over here in this box, which if you open this beautiful box, they're all my mahjong pieces. So I definitely, this is, like I said, our most formal space, but my kids live in here too. So I'm always finding surprises like that throughout the house, which is part of having a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. So these chairs is another thing I wanted to point out, is just, they're so fun. And they did take it was during COVID, I think they took like 1.5 years to arrive. But I think the fabric is so bold and really makes a statement. And I think this room really shows kind of like the pattern on pattern that I've never really shied away from. So I think this is a great space. I feel like we're always in here having drinks when I'm not pregnant and playing games and hosting friends. So it's been a really fun space for us. Design has always been core to what we do at Weezie and been a big focus of our brand. And what I mean by that is that we don't just offer a one-size-fits-all towel. So we have a super luxury product, but then you can pick out all the different colors you want. So you can change the color of the trim or get different embroidery options and pick out if you want your initials or your name embroidered on the towel. And you can choose from dozens of different colors and styles. And so we really wanted to allow customers to pick out a towel that's unique to them and also unique to their space. So taking something that's more of like thought of as a commodity, I'd say, a product in your home, it's a towel, and making it more of a piece of art that can hang in your bathroom and really be incorporated into the design of the bathroom. So speaking of hosting friends and cocktails, the bar is right off the living room. And this space, actually, when we bought the house, was just a hallway. It was a pass-through and had some big cabinets up here. And we really wanted to open the space and try to make it feel bigger than it was. So we added this open shelving. I loved this moody wallpaper here. which is a Rebecca Atwood, and kind of continues the green theme over from the living room. I really wanted to get this wine fridge in here, and it was hard to fit. And so we designed this little groove here, countertop, which is great. Weezie recently launched the powder room towel, which I love. It has this nice whip stitch edge, and they are also multifunctional because I use them in my bar as well. So this one I embroidered cheers, and we also have this really cute champagne flute motif, which is great for any celebrating you're doing. But I think it's always fun just to take a product and make it your own. And so don't be afraid to take a powder room towel and make it a bar towel. So here we have just a matchbook collection. Most of these were collected in our 10 years living in New York, and some here as well. And then we're big wine drinkers. So you'll see downstairs we built like a little wine closet. So collecting all of our corks here, which is just a nice touch in the bar. My favorite glassware that we have is probably these hand-blown champagne flutes that were actually a wedding gift, and it's really fun. They have my initials and our wedding date on each of them. So we love to be able to have any excuse to break those out. I lived in New York with my husband for a decade, and I had my first child in March of 2020, which was the very start of the pandemic. And we had considered at that point, should we leave the city and move back to the South where we're both from? And I actually got pregnant with my second child when she was only 3 months old. And so at that point, we realized we really needed to leave the city and wanted to move back to Atlanta, which is where I grew up when I was younger. And the problem with that is that we couldn't actually get down to Atlanta to look at any houses. And so we were looking at houses online and eventually bought this home sight unseen, which meant that I had to find a designer that I really trusted to help me with the home, as we were going to be doing most of the work and the design work remotely from New York. I think when we saw the home, I was definitely hesitant. My husband felt he felt more strongly that this was going to be the home that we purchased. I tend to be someone who wanted to take a longer time to kind of actually walk through the house and get the look and the feel in person, but we were a little bit scrambling and felt a sense of urgency to buy something because at that point, everyone was looking to move. And I really had to trust him. And, honestly, not only him, but also our interior designer that we hired, Anna Wooten of A. Wooten Interiors. So once I found a designer I was really excited about and sent her to the home to walk the space and FaceTime me through the space, I got comfortable with the idea of buying a house that I had never seen before. So now we're in the kitchen. And this was one of the first places that we designed when I was remote in New York. And I really just wanted a very classic, all white, bright kitchen, just knowing that I wanted to do some more pattern throughout the house. So you'll see it's a very kind of classic space. One of my favorite things in here are these bar stools, which are from Hollywood at Home, which is Peter Dunham's store, who's another design partner of Weezie's. So again, love having that connection of the partners that we work with at Weezie in my home as well. Normally, this kitchen is covered with kids' toys. We have like one little basket where we have everything hidden right now. And I feel like normally this is a total mess, but it's nice to see it actually how it was designed, which is nice and clean and white and bright. But I feel like normally there's just, kids' mayhem throughout the whole house. So this is our breakfast room that also doubles as our dining room. So when we were designing this space, the room is quite large for a breakfast area. So we were trying to figure out how to maximize the space. We built this long banquette under this window seat, which I think is so nice. And it actually also doubles as storage for all the kids' toys and other things. And one of the first things I picked out was these chairs we found at an antique store. And then we had them hand painted to look sort of like faux tortoise, which I think is so fun. And another nice touch when you have young kids is taking your fabric seats and actually laminating them. So they are super easy to wipe down for all the messes that we, always have in here. The fabric we chose on these chairs and have in the pillows as well is by Autoline, which is one of my favorite fabric houses because I think they do such a good job of incorporating multicolor. So colors you might not normally put together, they do so well. So we'll see a lot of Autoline throughout the house. We moved the dining table, towards the window here, which gives us a space over here in this corner. And what we decided to do was I actually took this chair and ottoman from my parents, had it recovered. And I was sort of thinking at the time, like, I'm never going to use like a lounge chair where I'm eating. And it's become like one of the most fought over chairs in the house, especially during meal times. And then we flanked the walls here with a acquaintance of mine, Charlie Clark, has this company, Matchbook Diaries, and there's all these different matchbooks from places in our lives that are meaningful to us. And so my collection was started with my sister-in-law giving us the Crosby Street Hotel, which is where we were engaged in New York. And then since then, people always gift them to us around places where we got married or had our rehearsal dinner. And then I since have gone on to gift them to people in my life as well. So we've created quite the collection here, which I think is always fun to look at while we're having family dinners and friends over. So when we moved here from New York, we honestly came with nothing because we intended to keep our apartment in New York at the time. And so we really had to start from scratch. So I was able to get some hand-me-down pieces from my family, both my in-laws and my parents. But then a lot of everything we had to source new. And so that combination was really, finding things new and making some pieces for the house, but also going to antique stores and hunting and trying to find things over time. We've been here now for almost 3 years. And so I would say, we've kind of collected things over the past few years, but I would say I'm at the very beginning stages of sort of collecting and finding, things to add to the home. I'd say my design style is very much like color and pattern first. I think that is sort of, I feel like I'm like more is more. So I like a lot of patterns and layers and colors. And so I wanted to find somebody who I could kind of like mix that style, but kind of bring a traditional spin to that. So this is our family room where we spend most of our time in the house. And in this space is really anchored by this ottoman we have here, which is again a Peter Dunham piece. And I think it just kind of is the focal point of the room, and you'll notice the kind of color scheme throughout, reflected throughout. And this space, I think, is just, I really wanted it to be comfortable and inviting and someplace that, we could gather. We really wanted to maximize seating. So we have 2 couches and these 2 club chairs I took from my parents and had them recovered. And the ottoman obviously also doubles as seating. So it's a really nice space for us to gather and host friends. And I do love that it's connected to the kitchen and the eating area, because when we host parties, it's just you're kind of seamlessly moving from one space to another, which is nice. We did opt for some lighter color fabrics, which I think most people are scared to do when they have young kids. So I'm not gonna lie, I have couch and rug cleaners on speed dial. At this point, I feel like I should put them on a payroll because they're over here so often. But I really try to sort of embody the idea that nothing is too precious. Like, things are just things. If something gets spilled on or, is broken, it's just, you can't get too precious about it, because I feel like when you have young kids, really anything goes. And I feel like our friends are always bringing kids over here too, and I always want to make them feel comfortable. So we've had a full bottle of red wine spilled on one of these couches before, and was able to clean it out. So I've really seen a lot of crazy things happen, and I feel like there's nothing you really can't fix. So now we'll go upstairs and we'll take a peek at my daughter's bedroom. Of course, we have these not so beautiful but very functional baby gates throughout my house. So I feel like, when you have a 2 and a 3-year-old and a third on the way, these are an absolute necessity. This is my daughter's bedroom, and it's actually my favorite room in the house. I think it is so fun and bright and happy and just pattern on pattern. And at the time I was pregnant with my second, I didn't know the gender. So I thought this might be my only girl. And so I really went very feminine, a lot of pink and yellow and blue. It's really fun. And so a couple pieces in here. These chairs were actually hand-me-downs from my parents that I had recovered in a fabric that originally I saw because my mother-in-law's Palm Beach apartment, or my in-laws' Palm Beach apartment, is all covered in this fabric, and I've always loved it. So I feel like it's a fun nod to both of her grandmothers. And then this mirror is so special because it's from Floyer Home, which is a women-owned business based in New Orleans. And I always, just being a business owner myself, love supporting other women-founded businesses, especially in the South. So Floyer Home makes these beautiful custom mirrors, and you can pick not only the style and the shape and the size, but also the paint color, which was really fun for us to coordinate with the coral in the room. And the focal point of the room was really this kind of grand headboard, which I thought was so fun because it's the bright yellow color and the piped in the coral, and it's just really such a focal point of the room. And I love this fabric we chose is not only on the window treatments, but also this cute little bolster. And you'll see it's just some fun little touches for a girl's room that I think, work for both a 3-year-old, but also she can really grow into this room over time. What I love most about this home is just how I think casual and open it feels. Like, I think we really, designed the space knowing that I had a growing family, and I'm now pregnant, 6.5 months pregnant with my third. And I wanted to find a space that I could have multiple children and have it feel more casual and inviting, and a place we could really gather friends and host. We love to have people over. And so I think the open feel is something that I might not necessarily, want in a home in 10 years, but for this phase of life, it's worked out so well. And I think the flow of the house has just been really great for the way that we live. And this is Miller's bathroom, and I always joke that I'm somehow jealous of my 3-year-old daughter because I think this space is so fun. We, of course, have the Weezie hand towels. This is one of our scalloped towels, and this sweet little bow embroidery, which I think is so cute for a little girl. And did this really bold wallpaper again. I just feel like I had a lot of fun mixing colors and patterns in here. And on the Weezie towel side, we were able to get these beautiful pink bath towels here with her name. And then we just launched these new shower curtains as well, which also have her initials. So it was fun to really use everything I could to match this beautiful wallpaper. This is my son's room. That was actually initially designed as a nursery. So it was my daughter's nursery. And I wanted it to be gender neutral so that, whatever babies we had down the line, I could sort of swap out something as simple as art or pillows, and it would work for either gender. So the base of this room is gray wallpaper. And then the first fabric I picked out was the window treatments, the Fermois drapery here. In a light blue color. And then when my daughter moved rooms into her room, we replaced all of the pink and yellow with red for my son. So we have this day bed here for him, which is great. And this Leslie Mitchell print, which I love. I knew if I had a boy, I really wanted to incorporate some of her work. My husband went to the University of North Carolina, so anything that is Carolina blue was, something we knew we needed to have in our son's room. So you'll notice a lot of the fresh flowers and greenery throughout the house, which I wish I could say it looked like this all the time, but I do think it's so easy to liven up any space and add some warmth, just, even with one simple branch. This is just from my backyard. It's so easy to add. Not only does it add, I think, warmth, but also it's nice for height whenever you need something to kind of balance out a dresser like this. This is my son's bathroom. Again, I really tried to make it as gender neutral as possible. So just kind of simple blue and white so that it could work for either gender. Have these adorable new Lil Weezie icons that we have. This little ducky, which I think works for both a boy or girl, which I love. And then we have this art here from Sally King McBride, which was a gift, and I think such a fun nod to New York because, my first was born there, and it's just a fun little piece to remind us of our time in New York. So I added these hooks in his bathroom, which I think is unique, but all of the Weezie towels come with this hook hidden in the piping, which I think is, a nice touch for anybody, but especially for a young kid who's bathroom could be a little bit more casual. So this is one of our kids' hooded towels here, hanging on these hooks. The advice I would give someone who is looking to pivot in their career, like I did from finance into becoming an entrepreneur, is that you really have to trust your gut. I think there's a lot of people out there that when you have an idea or want to do something different or change course, will be naysayers, and you just have to feel confident enough and for me, that meant, doing research and doing my homework and getting excited about the idea to say, respectfully, I'm going to pursue this because I can't tell you how many people told Liz and I that this was a crazy idea. And we really had to feel confident in the decision to pivot. And so I think you can always pivot no matter where you are in your career. I think it just requires you to do all of the homework up front so that when you're ready to actually make a change, you feel confident in doing so. So I mentioned I was jealous of my daughter's bathroom, but I have to be honest, I spent more time designing this bathroom than I did my own bedroom. So this is the primary bath. Again, I loved the hooks that we added here to help with hanging all of the Weezie product. And I think the real kind of focal point of this room is obviously the bathtub and the draperies. The draperies are made by Alex Conroy, and it was a fabric that we picked out and really coordinated everything around it. I wanted this space to feel warm, even though it's a bathroom, but it is a quite sizable bathroom. And the wallpaper, I think, really helps add the warmth. So this is a Philip Jeffries grass cloth that you'll see throughout the space. I mentioned again that I love to support female-founded businesses. So this chair was made by Coley Home, which is another Southern business owner. They make really affordable and just, I think, unique pieces that you can get really quickly. And so I had this coordinated with the color scheme of the bathroom. Making our way over here to the vanities. I love having his and her vanities. I think now that I've experienced this, I can never go back because it's nice to have your own space. These are where I kind of keep all my things hidden away. These are some Weezie toiletry bags. We have them in multiple sizes. It's nice to kind of clear out the clutter. And of course, I can never have a vanity without our trusty makeup towels. So I have these in all of our guest rooms and our bathroom here to make sure that we protect our nice white Weezie towels. So I think obviously as the co-founder of a bath brand, the bath is very important to me. And it is something that is like my happy place is when I have an insane day at work or with the kids, I can come in here and fully unplug and relax. And so I feel like an inordinate amount of time in the bathroom compared to most. And that's why it is like a larger space and a space, like I said, I really spent time and energy designing it because I do feel like it just brings me so much happiness to be in here. This light actually was something I think is probably unique to find in a bathroom. It probably, you might imagine it more in like a dining room. And I mentioned we don't have a dining room, but again, I really wanted to treat this space as, every element was something that I really loved and really kind of made the space feel beautiful and homey. Towels and robes and comfort are obviously also very important to me given my role at Weezie. And so I really wanted to make sure we had a towel rack that could display a lot of different towels at once. This is one of my favorite towels that we make. It's a wave embroidery. So I'm not a huge monogram person, which might surprise some people, but I do love a design detail. And I love that this taupe color really kind of complements the rest of the bathroom. And I think it's a great way to add in a moment, even if you're not like a monogram or embroidery person. My favorite robe that Weezie makes is our French terry robe. I wear this every day. And luckily I have a sneak peek at our new holiday robe that is coming out for holiday of 2023. And I truly wear different robes for different occasions, so it's nice to have a place for two. And my husband has now become a robe and towel snob just like me, so he has also his two robes here. This table is one of my favorite pieces. It's a demi-lune from my family home growing up, so I love having that antique piece in the house. And then just in this archway that we built on the other side of the foyer, we have these 4 pieces from Kayla Pelozentiel, which is an artist I love. And I love the color stories in each of these pieces. I think it really works to kind of marry the foyer back with the family room. So this is our basement living area, and this was completely unfinished when we bought the home. So it was a big project to get it all together, but I love the basement because we had these amazing high ceilings and natural light, which I feel like you don't normally get in a basement. And we really made this into a space that we can enjoy with friends and with family. Again, you'll see one of these large ottomans here. This is the Autoline fabric house that I love with the multicolor pattern. And I think the basement's a little bit of a retro vibe in here, which I think is so fun for a basement space. And I love these ottomans because our kids can just kind of go crazy on them and jump from the sectional to the ottoman to the chairs, which is fun. It just makes it very cozy and lived in. The sectional is actually a piece from my family home growing up that we had recovered in this darker kind of black and white fabric. And that is obviously great to hide stains. So great for kids. So these two chairs we had done in a custom color fabric, which I love, and they're nice swivel chairs. So you can easily position them no matter where the action is going on. They're big and comfy. And then we have this antique table we found that functions as a console, but I love this piece and I think it kind of, adds some warmth to the room. This is the downstairs kitchen. And I love this space because it is a lot more casual and we can host friends and kids down here. We had this amazing island made, which I love. It's a beautiful soapstone, and we put it on casters, which is nice. So you can actually roll this and move it around, which we often do when we're hosting, depending on what we're doing. And I think it's also fun because, if we ever leave this house, I get to take it with me. And this kitchen, we did a full backsplash wall here from fire clay tile, which I love. More open shelving. These are our kitchen towels that I love. This is our camel kitchen towel trio that we have, which is a great neutral, but then I jazzed it up by adding our last name with embroidery here. And these doors you'll see throughout the space were custom built doors, and you'll see this nice kind of tongue and groove pattern on them. And I think that really adds character to this space. We wanted it to feel, architecturally interesting down here, even though it's a basement. And here's where we built our wine closet, which is nice. We use these steel doors, and it's a great storage place for us for our wine. And a friend of mine who works for a local interior designer here, Dixon Rye, my friend Wesley Graff, made this art for me, which I love. I think it really goes with the black kind of moody color scheme down here. Over here we have our children's playroom. This space again was all unfinished, and it's a great place for them because they can do whatever they want in here, hang out and make it a mess, which it usually is. And I really wanted to make it fun and youthful. So again, we have Autoline fabric on this chair that was a hand-me-down from my parents that we recovered. And there was this nook back here that we didn't know what to do with. It was sort of dead space. So we turned it into what will eventually be a homework station for the kids. So again, trying to find ways to design spaces that can really grow with them over time. And whenever we host friends, it's nice because we can be out in the adult TV area in the basement and then send the kids in here to play, but they're just right around the corner from us. So I think having moved from New York, where we had, I don't know what it was, 500 square feet when we left. Now moving into this house and being able to keep expanding as our family grows is so nice. And now I can't imagine going back. Home to me is somewhere where we can gather and have friends over and family and just spend time and make memories with our kids and loved ones. And I think I am a very social person, but I would say I'm definitely a little bit of a homebody, and we spend just so much time here, especially having young kids. It's hard to get out of the house sometimes. And so for me, home is a space that I want to love the design and the feel and just kind of make those warm and happy memories.
Thanks for watching. For more Homeworthy content, be sure to like and subscribe.